Despite American Express being practically synonymous with reward credit cards, sometimes using an Amex card is just not a good option. Maybe you're shopping somewhere that doesn't really accept Amex and only takes Mastercard and Visa, or maybe you're going abroad on a trip and paying that additional 3% foreign transaction fee just doesn't make sense. Or perhaps you're a beginner looking to build up their credit history and learn the ropes of using credit cards. Whatever the reason is, there is a multitude of Visa and Mastercard options out there that will give you cashback, points, and various lifestyle benefits. So in this video today, we are going to look at the best non-Amex credit cards, starting from the very beginner options, working our way up to the most premium offerings. So speaking of beginner stuff, the most basic kind of credit cards are the so-called credit builder cards. They are targeted at customers that lenders view as high risk. So for example, if you have no credit history whatsoever, or maybe a very low income, or some red flags in your credit history in the past, or any combination of these factors really, then a credit builder card could be a good option. It uses a lower credit limit and a higher APR as a way for the lenders to reduce the risk, and it makes it more likely for you to get approved. It still gives you Section 75 protection, plus a nice chance to build up your credit history and basically get used to using a credit card. So a few options in this space would be, for example, the Capital One credit card or the Barclays card forward. Another option that recently drew my attention when I was researching this topic is the Tesco Foundation card, because unlike a lot of the credit builder cards, which are very bare bones and basic, this one actually gives you a little bit of rewards on your spending. Basically, the Tesco Foundation will give you 1 Tesco Club card point per every £4 that you spend at Tesco, and then 1 Club card point per every £8 that you spend elsewhere. And to be clear, this is very, very little. It's equivalent to getting 0.25% cashback on your Tesco spend and 0.125% cashback on everything else. But it is better than nothing, which is what you get on all the other credit builder cards from what I can tell. Finally, Tesco Foundation also has some kind of internal integration with TransUnion, which allows you to monitor your credit history and learn a little bit more about how it all works. But if you do want better incentives and higher credit limits, then let's move on to the regular reward cards. And here we are going to start with some cashback options. So generally in the UK, getting 0.5% cashback is considered a good deal, and there are some cards that will give you a little bit more, but usually only on specific categories of spend. So one product I particularly like in the space of non-Amex cashback cards is the Amazon Barclays card, which gives you 0.5% back on everything in the form of Amazon vouchers. And then this doubles to 1% back for anything that you spend on Amazon directly, and can even go back to 2% on specific days throughout the year. This card also has a sign-up bonus in the form of a £20 Amazon voucher that you get when you first get approved for the card. So someone spending around £15,000 a year on the Amazon Barclays card, which translates to a little bit over £1,000 of spend per month, with some shopping on Amazon thrown in, would get a little bit over £100 of cashback per year. Having said that, one massive downside of this card is the fact that you cannot have it if you have had another Barclays card in the past 6 months, which seems like a pretty ridiculous limitation, and I'm really hoping they remove it in the future. And by the way, I also do have a detailed video on the best cashback credit cards in the UK, and I'm gonna leave a link to it down below in the description. So while cashback is a very simple way to earn rewards for your spending, earning reward points such as airline miles could offer you better potential in terms of savings. And that is why next we're gonna look at the best reward points earning credit cards. So here I'm gonna open with the Barclays card Avios, which is my absolutely favorite free credit card, and I use it as a backup whenever my Amex cards are not accepted. It's very simple. It earns you 1 Avios per pound, and it also has a welcome bonus of 5,000 Avios if you are a new customer. And if you are spending Avios to book flights and you are aiming at least 1p of value per Avios, then this card essentially earns you double what the cashback cards that we just discussed earn. And on top of the Avios, if you hit £20,000 of spend in one membership year, the card will also give you an upgrade voucher, which allows you to book Avios tickets in premium economy and business class for less Avios. But honestly, if you are gonna spend £20,000 or more on this credit card, you might be better off with the paid version of it, which we will discuss in a few minutes. Another airline option in the UK is Virgin Atlantic, and they do also have their own free credit card called Virgin Atlantic Reward. This one gives you 0.75 Virgin points per every pound spent, which is lower than the Barclays card, but it does have a few features that Barclays card is missing. For example, your earning rate is gonna double to 1.5 points per pound for anything that you spend on Virgin Atlantic or Virgin Atlantic holidays directly. And also this card doesn't carry foreign transaction fees for shopping within the Eurozone. Finally, there is also a welcome bonus of 3,000 Virgin Atlantic points, which is a little bit less than on the Barclays card. And similarly, if you hit £20,000 of spend in one membership year, you also unlock a special voucher called the the Flying Club reward voucher, which basically allows you to either upgrade your flight to the next cabin or get a companion ticket for free as long as it doesn't cost more than 75,000 Virgin Atlantic points. And also, I am going to make an in-depth video on Virgin Atlantic credit cards and vouchers fairly soon, so consider subscribing to the channel if you are interested in that. But in this video, we have to keep things brief because we have quite a lot of cards to get through. And if you don't want to be tied to any particular airline like British Airways or Virgin Atlantic, you can opt to earn transferable points that you can later transfer to an airline program or hotel program of your choice. And while Amex is really good at this transferable point stuff, in the Visa/Mastercard space, there is something like HSBC Premier Credit Card, which is a free credit card earning you the equivalent of 0.5 airline miles per pound spent, and then those points can be converted into over 10 airline programs, including British Airways, as well as 2 hotel programs. The card also comes with a very basic Priority Pass membership, which you can use to access airline lounges at a flat fee of £24 per visit. The only catch here is to be eligible for the card, you need to qualify for the HSBC Premier current account, which can be a little bit tough. You basically either need an income of £100,000 per year after tax, or you need £100,000 of savings/investments that you have with HSBC. But if you do qualify for this, HSBC Premier also comes with a bunch of other nice freebies, and they currently running a £500 switching incentive, which I, by the way, covered in one of the recent videos in detail, as well as just other details of the HSBC Premier account. And as usual, I'm gonna link to that video down below in the description. Finally, one more option in the free non-Amex reward credit cards that I wanna cover is Yonder. Yonder is basically a relatively new player in the UK, and they have a very slick mobile app and generally a digital first experience, and spending on their credit card earns you Yonder points. These points can be spent at select places like restaurants and bars in the UK, as well as some online retailers, and the list of places where you can redeem your points rotates every month. The redemption rate though is going to be a little bit tricky to figure out, but at best it's going to be equivalent to 0.5% cashback, and I really want to emphasize the at best bit here, because the exact redemption rate that you get is going to depend on the exact place that you choose to redeem your points at. But then one clear advantage that Yonder has over most of the options that we've discussed so far is that they have 0 foreign transaction fees, so it could be a very good card to use abroad. And by the way, I do have a dedicated video where I go into Yonder in detail, and I'm going to link to it down below in the description. And now let's move on to the more premium options, which are going to carry an annual fee, but on the other hand, they are going to offer more attractive benefits. So for example, the free Barclaycard Avios card that we just discussed does have a paid option called Barclaycard Avios Plus, and this one earns you 1.5 Avios per every pound spent, and then also boasts a larger welcome bonus of 25,000 Avios. Finally, the threshold in order to trigger the upgrade voucher is reduced from £20,000 of spent to just £10,000 of spent, and on the flip side, this card carries an annual fee of £240, which is charged monthly at £20 per month, which means that you can actually cancel at any time and you don't have to keep the card for a full year. And here, whether you should go for the free Barclaycard Avios or the paid one largely depends on how much value you place on the upgrade voucher itself. So if you are definitely going after the upgrade voucher and you sure you are going to have enough Avios to actually use it in the future, then potentially the Barclaycard Avios Plus could make more sense, especially given its flexible annual fee structure that is charged monthly. And as usual, I do have a dedicated video on the upgrade voucher and Barclaycard Avios Plus, including how to get this a little bit cheaper by combining it with other products, so do check it out. The link is going to be down below in the description. Now, Virgin Atlantic also does have a paid version of their card, which is called Virgin Atlantic Reward Plus, and this one gives you 1.5 Virgin points per every pound spent, which goes up to 3 Virgin points per pound for anything that you spend on Virgin Atlantic directly or Virgin Atlantic holidays, and then the welcome bonus is also increased to 18,000 Virgin points. And finally, the threshold in order to trigger the Virgin voucher is decreased from £20,000 of spent to just £10,000, and the annual fee in the meantime is £160. And with this card, when again it comes to choosing between the free and paid versions, the main value driver here is likely going to be the Virgin voucher, which gives you either an upgrade or a companion ticket. So it's really all down to how much value you place into it and how confident you are that you are going to be able to redeem it. All right, if you are once again after transferable points, then HSBC also has a paid version of their card, which is called HSBC Premier World Elite Mastercard. This one is going to cost you £290 per year, but it earns the equivalent of 1.5 transferable miles per every pound that you spend, as well as earning you a a welcome bonus of 20,000 miles that you can again later transfer into Avios or a bunch of other airline currencies. On top of just points, this card also comes with unlimited airport lounge access via Priority Pass, as well as fast-track security at select airports. Those benefits are gonna be just for yourself though. If you do want to take a guest into the lounge or through fast track, you are gonna have to pay an additional £60 per year for a supplementary card. And when it comes to whether or not this card is a good option, it's down to how much value you place in the airport benefits. And by the way, in just a few minutes, we are gonna look at a pretty similar card that offers comparable airport benefits, but for a much lower annual fee, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, just to finish off drawing parallels to the free cards that we have already covered, Yonder also does have a paid version of their card, which they call the full membership. This one is gonna cost you £15 per month, and it's gonna offer worldwide travel insurance for your entire family, as well as earning an increased rate of Yonder points. Again, the redemption rates specifically are a little bit tricky, but with the paid version of the Yonder card, you are essentially going to be getting the equivalent of 0.5 to 2.5% cashback, and in this range, depending on which experience specifically you choose to redeem on, you are more likely to fall into the 0.5% cashback rate rather than the 2.5%. And I do apologize for being kind of vague here, but it is a little bit hard to explain exactly how Yonder redemptions work. So if you are curious about Yonder, do check out the dedicated video that is down below in the description. So one more card that I will include in the video today is the lowest World Elite Mastercard, which is potentially a great travel card. So for just £15 a month or £180 a year, you get unlimited lounge access for one person, fast-track security at select airports, 0.5% cashback on all of your spending, and finally, this card doesn't charge any foreign transaction fees, so you can even use it abroad. And then if you want to bring a guest into the lounge or through fast-track with you, you can actually issue one supplementary card for absolutely free, which makes it more than twice as cheap as the HSBC Premier card, which with a guest or a supplementary card would have set you back £350 per year versus £180 for the lowest MasterCard. The only sort of gap that the lowest card has compared to HSBC is the fact that it only earns 0.5% cashback, while earning 1.5 convertible airline miles like with HSBC is arguably better. But if you are looking at this card primarily for its airport benefits like lounge access and fast track, then it's not really gonna matter to you. And finally, if you are looking for an even more all-rounded travel card like say Amex Platinum, there is not a lot of alternatives in the Visa Mastercard space, but there is, for example, Revolut Ultra, which I think is the closest to being an Amex Platinum competitor, and it's also the most expensive non-Amex debit card in the UK. And by the way, in this video here, I do a detailed comparison of Amex Platinum versus Revolut Ultra, so do consider watching it next. And in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.